Hello, welcome back to Access at E3. Holly.
Hello.
Before E3,
you
got a chance to see Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I did.
I've played Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I watched you play a bit of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and this is why this is perfect.
So now we're going to do a video about Shadow of the Tomb Raider called 5 Reasons Shadow of the Tomb Raider could be the darkest Tomb Raider yet. Now, Tomb Raider has been pretty dark for the last two Tomb Raiders. It's even darker now.
It's so dark, there's no lights on.
Tell us why, Holly.
So I actually got to chat with some of the developers. So a lot of this is about lifting out the themes of like why they're making it the dark and what they've done and how that represents the sort of darkness. And for them, first point is the location. This is meant to be the most brutal setting yet. And for them, that was a jungle. Now, we normally, when you thought of a jungle, my mind goes to lush greenery and vegetation. And I wouldn't necessarily think, yes, that's very dark and dangerous. But the way they've created it is so dense and lush. Like, there's no light, like, coming through the canopy. And, like, you just want to be able to see the sunlight. And like, that's not there.
So it's a suffocating jungle.
It's very, very oppressing. And when you're in it, like, you know, there's dangerous creatures jumping out at you. Not only is it full of people trying to kill you, now the animals are too. Great, thank you very much. But, you know, things like this, just the way that when it rains, there's like mud everywhere and you're covered in it and it just makes everything feel really heavy.
I mean, jungles can be terrifying.
Yeah. I mean...
I remember, you know, the jungle in Predator, one of the most terrifying jungles ever.
I would not know. If it's terrifying, I probably haven't seen it. But yeah, for them, it's really the jungle setting is actually what is making this really, really dark.
Cool.
Now, the next sort of thing when I was watching some gameplay, because they showed us a demo, so I actually saw a different part of the game from what you played.
Right.
Now, in this one, they were constantly rappelling down. Now, in Tomb Raider games, we're kind of used to climbing up, and as humans, they sort of said that's our natural reaction to look up, to look at the vistas and to want to go up. And in all sort of games, Uncharted, we do the same thing. You know, he's always climbing up the mountain. But here we are constantly rappelling down into the darkness. The opposite of what we want to do as humans.
So we're going down into the depths of places rather than climbing up, and the sunlight comes over. I mean, when I played it, there was quite a lot of traversal, you know, classic Tomb Raider traversal. But one of the new things is, you know, she can stick her pickaxe into like rock surfaces and then attach a rope to it and kind of rappel down, like you said.
And it's meant to create that really ominous feeling because, again, when the idea of going underground is scary. It's like being buried alive.
So one of my worst fears is to be like, you know, in a cave.
Really?
One of those underwater caves. Just,
Well, that brings me on to my next point.
Oh, no.
Water.
No! Going underwater in Tomb Raider is terrifying.
So this is actually something they've put more in because the fans asked for it. Now, I think y'all crazy because there is nothing more terrifying to me than playing a game and running out of air.
Oh, those old Tomb Raider underwater sequences from the original games terrified me as a kid.
I was... Sonic. When the music starts playing, I'm still traumatized by it. I can still hear the jingle playing as I'm desperately, as a child, grasping for air. But they've put more in now than they've put. And because the game's all about descent, swimming down as well, it also fits the themes.
Have they just made a horror game?
Genuinely, it's a real psychological kind of horror because, again, not just is there more swimming, there is more twists and turns, more dead ends. It's harder to find those pockets of air.
Right.
And there's eels and piranhas. And other animals that want to kill you while you're swimming.
I mean, in the bit I played, I got caught, you know, without trying to spoil any story at all, in an underwater segment. And it was... There was lots of debris there. There was lots of stuff that you had to kind of navigate. And it wasn't clear where the air was. It wasn't clear where you could surface. And it created this kind of frantic sense of, I've got to get to the surface. So
yeah, we actually saw a bit more of what I'd call like old school Tomb Raider, like in the Aztec tomb, swimming through corridors. Cool. It just real old school Tomb Raider flashbacks, and it was just like they're taking the wrong turn. And even the devs are like, "Oh God, I hope we're going the right way because if we're not, I'm gonna have to use the cheat codes."
I mean, I am both excited and terrified.
Yeah. So they really, you wanted it. I mean, this is all your fault.
It's your fault.
Apparently, the fans.
It's our fault.
Next is a psychological twist to the combat. So, you know, we talked about the jungle and the idea of that being the brutal setting.
Yeah.
The idea is the jungle also gives Lara this very much like hide, come out. It makes me think Snake Eater.
Sure,
but it's that type of combat. It really is that type of combat.
You've got to use the jungle to your advantage.
Camouflage.
Yeah.
Covering yourself in mud, camouflaging even. Really.
Predator again.
I mean, I know Snake Eater, but that's where, got that the wrong way around. But she has to use the jungle, and she'll like be watching, come out, strike, kill, and then literally have to go back into hiding,
like a snake would.
Exactly. But you'll be like, you'll throw a grenade, something will blow up, and it is quick, get out of there. Because they're now looking for you. It's like up into a tree, running along, jumping through, just to find that new hiding location. And it's all dark, and the rain is everywhere, and everything's soaked.
Sounds great. Would it be fair to say that some of the darkness in this game is coming from Lara herself?
Yeah, and what they've done with that in particular is they very much want the players to sort of have that psychological connection with Lara, because she really is sort of killing now without...
She's a badass.
Yeah, but it's that kind of killing where it's almost senseless. She is just tearing through people, and that was never really reboot Lara. There was always a remorse, and we're not seeing that remorse with death anymore. She is taking people down.
There was a lot of internal conflict in her character from what I played,
yeah,
where she's kind of struggling with trying to follow in her father's footsteps, and is she losing some of her humanity in that journey? So
it's fair. I mean, we've even got these fear arrows that you can craft.
Fear arrows?
Yeah, again, because we're talking about the whole idea of being so psychological. But if you hit someone with one of these arrows, they then sort of go crazy and then turn on their teammates and will just start slaughtering their own teammates.
Wow.
So while you've got into the trees, you're in the bushes, you've shot an arrow, it's caught the guard, you're then hiding and just watching him. Watching the mayhem. So even the weapons she's now using are about psychological, really messing with people.
Sounds very cool.
And talking very cool will be my final point, which is the evolution of the challenge tombs.
This is what I want to hear about, because everyone's always we want more explory bits, we want more, tombs. We want to raid some tombs.
Yeah, these are going to be bigger than ever before. They said this time round, with the way they've designed them, they almost want the puzzles to look back at you. And this is because...
That sounds terrifying again.
Well, the one I particularly saw, it almost looked like a giant Aztec death robot.
Right.
Like you come into a tomb and it just comes to life, and then all of a sudden these arms come out, and then there's razor blades spinning, and you can see the puzzle. You can see that you need to climb it and dodge things, and they want it to look, and you could see it was alive. Like it was looking back at you and it was going to kill you. And there's a real big kind of shift at making not just them more challenging, but just making them like it's going to come and get you.
This is cool though. It's like we've got lots of what we used to love in Tomb Raider, more puzzles, more exploration, but also a continuation of reboot Lara's journey.
Yeah, and if you've watched this whole video and you're like, oh, it's too dark for me, I will just quickly mention Paititi, which is the hub world. It's like 3 times bigger than any previous.
Right.
But it's very lush. It's very green. It's like a beautiful Mayan Aztec. They have multiple themes for the world they've created.
We're not talking about the color palette in terms of the darkness.
No,
necessarily.
But this is
it's more like like we were saying, psychological.
This is like a village and everyone's happy and there's kids running around playing and you can pick up side quests and chat to people.
Side quests?
It's side quests.
In Tomb Raider?
Side quests.
Wow.
So, there is an ability to take a break from it if it gets too heavy. So there are places where you can come back and it's just that...
chill out.
It's lighter and...
Just relax.
Yeah, healthier mentally.
Just kill the whole squadron. Let's wash this mud off.
And let's go and do some side quests.
Some side quests for some villagers.
So there is still, there's that aspect to it still as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Holly.
Pleasure.
I think the game is looking amazing from what I played. There are 5 reasons this could be the darkest Tomb Raider ever. Let us know what you think about Tomb Raider in the comments, and please do stay with us because we've got absolutely loads more coming up from E3.